Alright, guys, welcome back to another podcast on Topics on the Edge. I am extremely excited that I get to talk to Laserwolf today. He's got a small cap. You only trade small caps, right? No big caps?
Yeah, just small caps right now.
Yeah, so he trades a small cap room. He was actually one of the guys that I was kind of, I don't know, I call everybody, like when I'm in the room, I'm basically mentoring under them, so I was mentoring under Laserwolf, right? I guess probably about a year ago now, and then I had to kind of pump the brakes on trading stocks, and I had to prioritize things a little bit differently. And so when I came back up to Kentucky, it's way busier up here now, and I don't have things in order the right way to be trading full time, and so what I kind of veered myself off to, I watch Be the Story all the time, or Be the Trader all the time, and I love watching his videos, but like he's kind of getting like behind the scenes of like the technical side, and so like I wanted to talk about something that most people like you never really hear anybody coaching about their mindset, like how difficult that is. Like for me, I've been a high level kickboxer. I've been the head of like restaurants and stuff like that. So like I've had I've drove CDL trucks. Like I've had stress, but like trading stocks is probably the most like mentally straining thing I've ever done in my life. And so like it's very interesting. Like when you meet people that are like really doing it, it's like a very rare thing because in my personal opinion, like you have to know who you truly are before you can even trade, because it's not just pushing a button. Like once you push that button, like you're in it. Like how are you gonna react when shit hits the fan, or like are you gonna cover too early, or are you gonna wait till like there's so many little details depending on how complex of a person you are. Like it can get really crazy. So how have you handled trading?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Trading it exposes all these things. I want to say flaws, but I don't want to put it in like that negative context. But I'll just put it like it exposes things about your personality that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And mainly it happens when you're losing. When you're either in a losing trade or you've had a losing day, how you deal with it. That's hard, man. I mean, that's why the learning curve is so steep and so few traders make it, because they don't. I generally I would say most traders, they try to scale up way too fast.
Yeah.
So to deal with those emotions, to click that button and get yourself in a trade, and then the trade starts going against you. But let's say it hasn't necessarily broken your thesis, but you see that thing like your P&L box. I mean, I don't have my P&L box up, but I had when they see it fighting against them, it's like it's very difficult to be like, nope, it hasn't hit my stop yet. I just got to be patient.
Yeah.
Or let's say you've taken 2 losses in a row, and now another valid trade is presenting itself. It's easy to be like, oh man, I don't want to go more red on the day, so I'm not going to take this trade. When you need to be taking that trade. So you have to compartmentalize losses, and in order to do that successfully, it takes time. Like there's no short circuit around it. It just takes a lot of time. And on top of that, it takes gradual steps of risk. So you can't go from, risking, like, say, trading on the simulator, which I think everyone should do in the beginning. Like, no one should be trading with real money in the beginning. Way too many people do. Everyone should trade on the simulator until they can prove themselves successful on that. And then from there, it's slowly building your way up. I mean, I started with the simulator, and then I went to like $10 a trade, $20 a trade, $50 a trade, $100 a trade, so on and so forth. And then many times I had to like go back, right? When I found myself not able to handle that new size. And
See, I
slowly,
screwed up,
like,
man. Like,
it's slowly chipping away forward, having to come back if needed.
yeah,
Oh, I couldn't handle. Let's say I couldn't handle $500 risk per trade. All right, so I'm going to go back now to 350, right? Okay, I was handling that for a month. I was executing well. All right, let's step up now from 350 to 400. And, now look, we're at 500 again. Up. So it's slowly, incrementally working your way up. Working with size that doesn't emotionally tilt you. Because you're never going to be able to trade. You're never going to be able to trade well if you're emotionally a wreck when the trade starts going against you, which it will. You have to be able to trade with money that it's not bothering you. Like, okay, yeah, I took a $500 loss in that trade. So what? But for a lot of people, $500, that's a shit ton of money. And they have no business trading on that kind of money. And if they're not emotionally, have built themselves, like, I would say callous. Like, you have to callous yourself to get there. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. Everyone that says, like, oh yeah, I picked up trading. I mean, there are guys out there that become successful traders in like 1 year. I mean, there's stories of them, but like, I would say that's about as rare as people that pick up a basketball that end up going to the NBA.
yeah, I agree.
Like, the vast majority of people, if they're going to be successful in trading, it's going to take, I would say, 3 years minimum, before they can start probably just like breaking even, and then maybe making like incremental, like consistently profitable months.
Yeah,
3 years. Yeah.
man. Like, so I started off trading like a little bit like I can like listen to you, and it's like I can see like your process of how you got to where you are. But like I started off a little bit differently. Like I started learning certain things from like I picked up stuff from you that definitely helped me out a ton. Like I started off in Jay Trader's room. I did his mentoring program, and I learned a lot of stuff. But like I felt like I was missing certain things, and then I always followed JJ Fade. Like ever since like I first started trading, like that was like right when he was leaving Jay Trader's room, and I started following that guy a lot. And so like I saw that you guys were doing something, and there was a room, and so like I was like, oh shit, dude, I want to get into this Laserwolf room, and I got in there, and like I didn't learn really like anything like from JJ in that room, but like I learned like you had like a bunch of videos that like I just like watched the shit out of these videos, dude, for like 6 months. Like every day, I'd pretty much rewatch them all, and I'm like I started learning how like I never back tested. That was one thing I never learned. Like I made a lot of money, and I went full time before I even like I didn't even start back testing. I didn't back test anything at all, and like I just got in, and people started trading, and like I never traded for like say like I'm gonna take a $20 trade. I always had like a max loss, and for me, I was like in my mind, I was always like, well, I'm gonna try to take like 2 trades. And like the whole goal was not to hit max loss, like make money without hitting max loss. And I feel like I don't know if that was necessarily the right way of me going about doing it, because like I like one time I started out and my max loss was $350, and like so like I mean at the very beginning like that's a decent chunk of money, but like I'm not gonna die, and because I would also make money. Like I was making, $300-$400, easy, and then like I started scaling up to where I'm making like $600, $800, $1,000. That was where I got screwed up. You were saying that, like most people go off when things go bad. Like I also have things go off when I get good. I get way too cocky, and I'll be like, oh dude, like I'm never wrong. Like I just made like a month's worth of money in like 2 days, and like that's all it takes for me is like 1 or 2 good days, and it's like, oh shit, like that's not good. And then like once I hit 1,000, then I've started learning that I have greed too. Because I was like, oh damn, dude, I made $1,000 in an hour. If I can do that every day, like, I don't even know what to do with that kind of money, And it's like, but then it's like, if I didn't make, like, I remember my brother coming in one time and he's like, how much money have you made? I was like, $800, and it was like 20 minutes after open, and my brother was like, holy shit, dude. I was just like, yeah, but I mean, it's not $1,000, so like I gotta hit that $1,000, and it's just like, oh, dude, like that's not like. And I remember, like, after I blew my first account, my buddy told me, he's like, dude, like, what's enough? Like, that's the question that you're missing is like, what's enough? Like, if you make $600, like, why the hell are you sitting at, like, your desk still? It's like did you have like something that like you kind of went through like that process, or like do you just remember, like, or you not get affected as much when things go really good?
When things go really good. So I don't think about my day in terms of like P&L. I think for me, like, I have on my desk in front of me right here. I have taped out something I printed out a while ago, and it says a perfect day is a day I put on great trades with the correct size, rinse and repeat. So, I mean, that's really it. The essence for me is like a successful day. A good day is a day where I execute really well. I see trades that I like, and I put them on with the correct size. I'm patient with my entries. I'm disciplined for my targets. And yeah, I mean that's how I gauge it. And then if I'm up, I don't like I said, I don't take track how much I'm up or down during the day. I mean, I do glance at it time to time, but I'm not like, oh yeah, like I'm up a couple thousand right now. Like I should probably log off because I don't want to get overly greedy. I don't think about it in those terms. Like if there's opportunities and they're in my playbook, I'm gonna put those trades on. Like I'm not thinking about how much I'm up or down.
So do you have like for instance, like my playbook, like I have pop and fell at pre-market high like within like the first 5 minutes of open, right? Yeah. Like, so okay, I got the first 5 minutes of open. Like after that, like if it breaks above that, then I have to wait for it to hit like a daily level, and then I'm drawing in like a fib and seeing. I want to see like blow off top, and then I want to short like 61 to 78 fib bounce, and like something like a lower high position, and like short that and like let that fall. But like I have like a late day fade, but like really like those two setups, they should happen by like 10:30. And like really, if you think about that, that's only two entries, right? So it's like if you do it correctly, like I don't know exactly how much like money, like I don't know how I don't know how exactly like I should be sizing that to I was going for like $1,000 or whatever, but I never calculated in like R. And like I remember like when you and JJ, you're always saying like, dude, like it's gotta be 2 or 3 R, and I was just like, what are these guys talking about? And I always just thought about the money. I'm like, okay, so if I take, because I traded like depending on the size of the share or the price of the stock, I would short like 1,200 shares, but I was a beginner, like, and so like I'm using big size, and like I kind of like what you said. I feel like people need to start off small, because if you can make money with 200-300 shares, make decent money, like that's gonna last you a lot longer than kind of what I did. I think that I went way too big, way too fast, and
right,
it didn't last.
Yeah, well, so I mean, your question, I mean, I'll answer. There was a few things you were talking about there, but I think I'm going to speak to the R component first because
Okay.
that was the one that I think is the most interesting to discuss, and that is the reason that I like to refer to my traits in R is simply it detaches. Number one, it detaches yourself from the
Money.
emotion of from money. Like trading, if trading didn't involve money, like if it just was a video game, like that's why most people like after a few months of trading on the simulator, they can be profitable every single day, right? Because it's not real money, right? So the emotions are completely out of it. Like you're literally just trading the chart like a video game. And once you learn basic support and resistance and components of technical analysis, like that's not that difficult. Like everyone or anyone should be able to master that within, well, I wouldn't say master, but everyone should be able to get a rough handling of that and be profitable on the simulator within, I would say, 2 or 3 months. After that, really, I mean, yeah, you do get better at that part of trading, but after that, it really is mastering yourself, right? Mastering your emotions. And the reason that I like to use R is because it detaches myself from the money. I mean, what sounds what sounds worse? Like, damn, I'm down $1,000 right now, or I'm down one R. Assuming your R is one R is $1,000, right?
Yeah.
For me, I would much rather see like my P&L box on DOS. I have it now. They have a new feature. You can see your P&L in terms of R.
Oh, that's cool as shit. That's
Super cool.
super cool.
Super cool, right? So like now I can just glance down at my P&L box. I used to hide it, but now
God, dude, that would help me so much, much. Cause like
I'm only down when I'm only down.
you can tell, and like, but like that's what I mean. It's like my emotions, like it's almost like they're like supercharged because like they like play off of each other, and it's like I see the money gets to my ego gets to my head. I start getting more confident, and it's like boom, 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 and it's like, dude. Like if I could just I learned how to I started learning how to detach with you and JJ because when you guys started talking about R's, I was like, oh shit, and then I was also in Brian Lee's room at the same time, and like he does the same thing, and I was just like, but like that's what I meant is like I feel like it's a journey because like I was in J Trader's room, I'm still in his room, I have a lifetime membership. I go to yours and Brian Lee's, and then I go to JJ's, and then it's like from every single one of these things, it's like, okay, I like this, I like that, that speaks to me, and it's like you kind of create your own system almost, like your own trade. I remember I worked with Steve Goldstein as a mind coach. He told me about this guy that was making ungodly amounts of money. People would always be looking, and he's like, no, it's cool. Come on, just sit down. And he would explain everything. He's like, yeah, this is my system, but you can't trade it. The system's made for me, and it's like I kind of feel like that's kind of how it gets. I've seen people that are very successful in J Trader's room, and they do the same thing, but they're not there because they are trading Jay's system, kind of, but they're kind of doing their own thing, their own mix to it, But they love the community, and when I started thinking about that, I was like, man, I kind of want that's why I kind of started up my own little community thing, but I want to gear more towards mindset, I would imagine you had a little bit of greed or something there, and so you switched it to R, or however whatever emotion the money made you feel. For me, I had the emotion of greed, and so for me, if I looked down, I was like, oh, I'm up 3R. All right, cool. Whatever the hell R means to you, and it changes. Like you said, $1,000.
Another reason for using R is it helps to compartmentalize trades rather than let's say you have a daily lockout of $1,000, right? If you're down 1,000, you're gonna stop for the day. So instead of thinking, okay, this trade, I'm gonna risk my entire daily lockout. When you use R, you can say, okay, yeah, like, if my 1R is $250, I'm gonna stop, at 1R. Like, I'm gonna risk 1R for every trade. So when I hit negative 4R in the day, I'm gonna stop. It's just an easier way to compartmentalize like a day's, risk. So like your risk for the day, your daily risk allotment is, I would recommend to most people 3 to 4R, and when you hit that, like, you're out for the day. Rather than, because if you just have like $1,000 risk, it's easy to like blow it all in one trade. I like to like compartmentalize. Like I'm gonna risk, I'm gonna have 4 opportunities a day, before I hit max lockout. So it's just another way to like compartmentalize per trade rather than, go all in with your eggs in one basket, which sometimes it's, you want to do that if it's an 8+ trade, but for the most part, that's only going to happen maybe a handful of times a month that I'd want to risk my entire, daily lockout on one trade.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely. I don't know. Like, see, I never went up big enough size to where I had to like really worry about that. I like the most shares I ever used was like 1,200, and so like my lockout was $350. I mean, you gotta let that thing move quite a bit to lock you out on like one trade. Like, so like I never moved up to like using like 10,000 shares or something like that. And so like you start getting to that bigger size. Like I remember Brian Lee was explaining. He's like, dude, like none of you guys even have to worry about this shit. But like when you are shorting and you see the stock actually like dropping because you're hammering it down so much, he's like, now like you're getting into like the big leagues, and it's like, holy shit, dude, like you're slamming the bid, just like watching it skip down. It's like, yeah, like I don't know what.
That's another reason why, a lot of these, look at the bigger traders at that size, you don't see them trading illiquid stocks.
Yeah. Can you imagine the size though? Like, god damn, dude.
You don't see traders of that size trading like illiquid, midday pairs that are trading like 300,000 shares on the day.
Yeah. Do you
the possibility for them to get skipped up on and caught with big size and lose an insane amount of money is way too high.
So how do you determine like your size for like a trade? Like, do you have like, okay, this setup gets this trade? Like, do you have to have like a certain float, like dollar amount? Like, what is it for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I use exponential bet sizing. I grade my trades into A, B, and C. So an A trade, that's going to come around, a few times a month. Maybe 2 or 3 times a month is going to be like an A+ trade for me. And that's going to get roughly about 5 times the amount of size as a C trade. So let's say that gets like let's just say that gets 10R of risk. Then a B trade, would get about 3R of risk, and a C trade is going to get 1R of risk.
So like for instance, like I just told you kind of like what my playbook would be, like the pop and fell of pre-market high.
Yeah.
It has to have an extension into a daily, like, so like those things, like those would be like my A+, and like those would be the ones that like you would stack size upon. But like the last, I don't know, like do your A+ trades like ever change? Because for instance, like the pop and fell of pre-market high back like 2 years ago, dude, if that happened, like you were like things like 9 out of 10 times is gonna just tank. Now it's like it's so freaking trappy that like, dude, you're like, what are you gonna get? Like 10 cents before it rips your face off?
Yeah, so I don't definitely my A+ trades are definitely never gonna be on a day one gapper in the first like 30 minutes of the open. For me, in order to make money on day one gappers right off the open, you have to use pretty wide risk, or it's just gambling. You never know what's going to happen on a day one gapper, like right off the open. So I never consider those to be like an A+ trade. For me, A+ trade is going to be something that's super extended. I actually don't even have it like I don't have it written out like this is what an A plus trade is. I know when I see it, right?
Yeah.
Typically, it's going to be something with like a ton of range. Like I want to see something that's at probably at least 100%, you know, if not more. I mean, let's go over like potential A plus setups. So one would be like I really like playing the late day fade. So let's say it's been, you know, like it started off as like a para and it just started blowing shorts out, you know, like Chris Verma style shorts that are just like shorting on the TI scanner, you know, like as soon as they get the alert, like just full size.
Yeah.
I love when those guys just get blown out and there's like multiple legs up of the para.
Uh-huh.
Like that's where I started to get interested. And then, you know, let's say it's up like 200%. And it hits like a you know, like an obvious, very clear daily level. And now it's pulled back, let's say, you know, 15, 20, 25%. So very, very likely that it's found a top. And now I'm looking for like a beautiful bounce, you know, like you said, I'll use fib level.
Like 61,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to get a beautiful fib bounce level, you know, and then maybe there's even like a pivot point from up top earlier, like a down pivot that like coincides with the fib level.
Like what's more important for you?
Daily level there too, you know?
Like what's more important for you? Like the one, like say like it has like one like spot, but it's got like one of those long ass wicks on it, and you're like, oh, that is most definitely a huge zone, or like where it has multiple touches on the daily. Like what's more, like does it matter which one's more important?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that we have to like. I don't think that's possible to say like what's more important. I think that I would say that all of it, you know, like the more confluence you can have, the better. So again, like I would make that part of the A plus trade, you know, like I want to see a lot of confluence, like the stock's up.
So like you know, like if it's got like the big thing and multi touch, that's an A plus.
Exactly.
If it's got just the multi touch,
it's going into the 61 fib. You know. And even maybe like that 61 fib also lines up with like a whole dollar. You know? Like let's say it lines up with like it lines right up with like $8, you know?
So okay, so for you, like do you have like a magic number of like, all right, I have to have like at least 3 things before it's A plus, because like it sounds like with that kind of stuff, like you could be like you go down like a rabbit hole, dude. Like
I used to try to for a while there. I was really trying to like systematize my trading a lot with backtesting and just really trying to automate things. But I realized that like if I don't think the best traders and the best opportunities and the guys that make the most money, I think that they're much more discretionary than that. Like I don't think that trading I don't think it's that like compartmentalized, systematic, at least for me.
Yeah.
And so like my answer for you would be like, no, it doesn't have to be any of those. You know,
like you have a
trade maybe has zero confluence, like it, or maybe there's only not zero, but maybe there's only 2 things. Yeah. Maybe there's 5 things. I don't know. Like I know it when I see it, you know. But in a nutshell, I want to see a ton of range. So I want to see something that's up at least 100%. You know, I want to see a stop that's like it shouldn't be up, right? You know, like what's the catalyst? The catalyst was like, you know, I don't know, some press release announcing like the new CEO, some bullshit, or maybe even no news, you know? I want to see, a strong daily level, and I want to see, like, I'll add to that, like, I'm not a front side trader. Like, I don't have any desire to trade on the front side. The front side is for impatient shorts that always need to be in a stop because it's up a lot. Like patient shorts, disciplined shorts, they wait for the top to be set, and then they're disciplined to get in on a beautiful bounce. Because now the price action has slowed down, the risk level is set, and I can get much tighter risk, you know, and my risk reward is much higher than if I'm trading front side.
Do you have like a certain number of like entries? Like for instance, like I would go like crackhead sometimes trading, and so like me and my wife made up like some rules. Like we got a whole notebook and like started writing out like all this shit. Like, all right, you gotta follow this, do this, and I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah. And but like she said that like if I have more than 2 entries, like I usually like I'll get triggered, and then it's like I'll win a trade or lose a trade, win a trade, lose a trade. It's like, oh my god. And she's like, just have two entries, and that's why like I kind of made up the system that I have. It's like, okay, like it either pop and fell pre-market high, or if it does go above that, I have to wait for like what you kind of said. Like it's got to have, like I'll see it when I know it, and it's like it's funny because Steve Goldstein, when I worked with him, I would say you probably have a very very close to like my personality. Like we're not gonna have exactly the same. Everyone's unique, but like he did like this psyche eval on me, and like it showed like where I was on like this emotional compass. And like he could tell me exactly how I was going to trade, what I'm going to be looking for, like all sorts of shit. And like, but he told me different examples of all these other people, and like I can see that in traders. Like when I join a chat room, like I can see this person. I'm like, dude, you're just trading the wrong shit. Like you need to go to like large caps, or start like swing trading, or whatever it is. But it's like, I don't know, like it kind of like I don't know, it's very interesting like how like your emotions like come out into the trading. But like listening to you, I can listen to you all day, because it's just like, oh shit, like I understand what he's saying. If somebody like that doesn't have our personality is like sitting here listening to us, he's gonna be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like that. Like it wouldn't even make any sense to them. They'd be like, wait, like they are super systematic, and like I have some friends that like they've been trying to do the same thing over and over and over, and it's like it's all like you can almost see it. Like, dude, like they have the best trades ever, but they're so scared to like their risk is so tight that like they never make any money. They never risk anything. It's like. It's so many different areas that like all this trading.
I would say that in the beginning, I wouldn't say probably. I would actually say it is better. It's better to have wider risk, like wider stops, because you're not good enough yet to identify like the ideal and perfect levels. So you need to be using wider stops. Otherwise, you're gonna just get chopped up way too much, and that's gonna be frustrating. So it's better to use wider stops in the beginning, and then you're not going to make that much because you're using small size, because you shouldn't be using big size. Your account's probably not very big. You can't handle big size, and you're having to use wider stops of like say 15%.
Your R's going to suck.
Yeah, but dude, that's just part of the learning process, man. I mean,
I fucked up there too.
It's part of just earning your stripes and becoming like the trader that you want to be. You can't go to using $500 risk per trade and using like 4 or 5% stops. Like that'll never work. You're gonna get annihilated.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's another thing that I did wrong, is because like that's exactly what happened to me. Is like I would have super tight, like, but like I was also using for my account really, like I don't know like what you would recommend for like a $30,000 account, because like really that $25,000 is just sitting in there. Like you're just really trading with that $5,000.
Yeah.
And so it's like that size, risking $350. That's a lot of risk. Like that's way too big. Like you can't, like if you have experience, you can absolutely crush it. But if you don't have experience, you're gonna get like just annihilated way too quick. You're never gonna survive. And so like for me, I was like, man, I should have been like, I don't know, like working with like probably about 300 shares. I'd say 200-300 shares, and like be risking I don't know, like I still like to play like a tight, like I don't like having huge wide stops and stuff, but like like on that pop and fail, for instance, like when it pops and fails the pre-market high, I risk like the top of that candle, and that's it. Like unless it's close to like a whole $0.50 number, then I'll risk like 5 cents above that. But like if it goes above that, like I'm looking for that lower high. Risk like it has to reject off the daily level, have a lower high, and it's like okay, well, I mean, I'm still only risking like 15 cents. So like really, if I trade correctly, I should never even get remotely close to I don't know, my max loss unless like I'm doing like okay, I can somehow calculate it. I don't have Cobra anymore, so I don't have that ultimate hotkey, because if I did, that would be fucking gold, because I could be like, okay, I'm gonna risk like $50 a trade or some shit, and it's like, oh hey, sweet, like I'll just go locate like I don't know 1,000 shares, and it's like, okay, well like, and fuck, half the time I was with Cobra, it's free anyways. I get on their website and I just be BSing with like the workers there, and they just give me free shit. That's just like then I got into Trade Zero International, and it's like, good god, dude, like like sometimes I saw it for like $40 for like like it was like barely any shares. I was like, well, fuck, dude. There's like, I don't know what percentage that is. That's like 15% of my daily like income. Like, what the hell are you guys, like? How are you ever supposed to survive on Trade Zero International? It's insane.
I don't know. I never use them.
But like, so like that actually brought me back to. I'm glad I like looped back around, because I want to ask you, like, how the hell do you even get started? Like, most people that are trying to like trade at work or whatever, which is why I'm not trading right now, because that's not, like, for me, that's not realistic for like what I'm doing. And so it's like, I'll build this community. Maybe I can do something to where that gets big enough. I can work for that full time and trade and coach and all that kind of stuff. And so like, I feel like eventually I might get to like doing what you and JJ and J Trader and Brian are like doing, but like I don't know, like for me, you have to have something to like offset the income so that you can relax. Like if you just like you quit your $100,000 a year job and you're like, all right, let's do this shit. It's like, do you have like any savings or like so how did you get started? Because I've seen so many people try, and it's like they last literally a month or two, and then they're just like nuked.
I know, man. I've seen, well, since I opened my own trading room, I've seen so many guys come and go out of my room. Like, I used to reach out on DM to every guy that was new to my room, like just to welcome them to the room. But after a while, I realized that like emotionally, it was too hard for me, because I didn't like I didn't want to like get emotionally attached to their well-being and how they were doing, because most people will come and go within a couple months. Just the nature of the business. Like, and if you're there for like at least, I would say 3 months, then yeah, like I'll start, investing in you and, wanting to see you succeed, and, even taking time outside of my trading hours to like do a screen share and go over your trades and stuff like that. But I found that the rate in this business is so high that I don't want to even bother myself with someone if they're only there for a month.
My theory is like when I was working with Steve Goldstein, he told me that he thought that I would make like he didn't like predict that I would make a lot of money, but like he's like, dude, if I had to gamble on you making a lot of money in trading, you have the right personality. I believe that you're gonna do it. And I'm like, I know I'm going to, but like he was telling me that like there's so many people that came to him for trading, but then they realized, oh, I don't want to trade at all. Like most of the people that I think that get into trading Like they don't actually really give a shit about trading. They don't want to like. They don't understand what the job actually is. Like for me, if I went back to being a kickboxer, right? Like I used to be a high level kickboxer before COVID. Like I could go back to doing that, but it's like, man, it's not just you don't just get in the ring and fight people, dude. Like it's all this shit. Like it's like waking up early, dieting, going to the gym. Like after you work out, you know you're at the gym for like 3 hours. Then you have to go run 6 miles. It's like that's the job. But it's like when you start talking to people, like, hey man, like you know, like what's your goal with trading? And they have no idea of like they're just it's like at that point, in my opinion, like that's where it's like gambling. It's like seeing like a spark, like a flashy light, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna jump on here and just push these keys and make a bunch of money. It's like, but that's not what a trader is, dude. Like you gotta backtrack. You gotta like. There's so much work that goes into understanding yourself, and like it's that for me, that's where the job is. Like, do you want to understand who you are? Like, do you want to go through that baggage of like, man, like what I just said, like I know you didn't want to use the word flaws, but like I don't know what else to use for it, so I'll just direct it towards me. Like, you know, one of my flaws is like I can get super cocky or arrogant. I can get greedy. I can be I can get really bad FOMO but like that's not like I don't feel like that's a personality. Well, I don't know. Maybe it kind of goes in with like anxiety and stuff. Like there's so many different things that like most people do not want to dive into that, and they're like, yeah, like I'm sure I have problems, but I just don't even want to think about it. And it's like,
yeah.
That for me, that's like, okay, that's the job of trading. That's super difficult, and it's like that's why I started this community, because like most of the people I talk to, I'm like, dude, like you could save yourself like literally thousands of dollars just by, I don't know, BSing with me for like, you know, an hour a week, and I could be like, yeah, dude, you're I don't know what you should do, but you're not like gonna be a trader, or directing them like, hey, you know, like, you know, you need maybe big caps is gonna be a better option for you. Your personality would fit that, or swing trading. You know, like kind of like directing them, because like I feel like so many people get sucked into the wrong shit, and like I want to build something up big enough to where it's like, I don't know, for instance, like, oh hey, like I think that, you know, your personality would fit this guy I know. His name's Laserwolf. He's got a room. Go there, or like, you know, my buddy JJ or J Trader, and like, you know, like have like the legit people, or like, you know, you already have trading, but like your part is like making that money work for you. Hey dude, go to Brian Lee's, because he's gonna teach you how to compound the shit out of that, and you're not gonna have any problem. You know, it's like there's so many real people in this community, but it gets such a bad rap. And it's like I've been talking to the coolest people, like, and it's like, I don't know, it's insane to me. Like, but it's cool getting to talk to people and like seeing how you got started. I cut you off, went on a long rant, so like, but what I was asking you was, how did you get started? Like, and like, what would your recommendation be for a trader, like that really is ready to transition over to full time, and you know, how would you do that?
Well, my dad got me started trading during the COVID, when COVID first started. And that's how I found out about it. That's how I started. My dad was the one that pushed me into it. Thought that I had he thought I had a good temperament for it, because I've always been I've always been very self-disciplined. That's always like a hallmark that everyone that knows me well would say that I have that in spades. So yeah, I would say that is true. You definitely see that common trait among successful traders, a high level of self-discipline. And so, yeah, got started 2000, I think like late 2019, or early 2020. And, I mean, yeah, I was doing what most people do, juggling, you know, work and trading at the same time. And yeah, I think I picked it up maybe a little bit sooner than other people, just because I put in like some ungodly hours in the beginning. Maybe 15, 16-hour days. Pretty much like went full time, I would say, after the first like 6 months of trading. Not because I was making money trading yet, but I had money saved up from my job where I was working as a mortgage broker. So I had a decent amount of money saved up at the time, and so it allowed me to like pretty much quit my job. I was still doing like an odd loan from time to time, but for the most part, I was kind of going full time about 6 months in, and then that allowed me to be in front of the screens. Like, I mean, even to this day, like in the last 4 years, I think I've only missed maybe 5 market days of trading. So even though I've only been trading for about 3.5, 4 years, I think I've probably got like about double that of like a normal person.
Yeah, I would say like just by hearing that, I'm like, yeah, dude, like you went live like after 6 months because you compacted all that shit that like everybody goes through in like in like 2 or 3 years. Like that's fucking insane, dude. So like, are you married? Like were you married? Like did you have a girlfriend back then?
I have a 12-year-old son, but he lives with his mom.
Uh-huh.
So I do miss him. I don't see him that often. I'd like to see him more, but I have a girlfriend that lives with me here in our house here. So I've been fortunate in the sense that I was able to go pretty much into trading really fast. I don't have any. I'm not a full-time dad, and I'm not married. So I don't, and I have 2 dogs, but I've been able. It's fortunate that I've been able to like dedicate myself to trading pretty much full time from like the get go.
Yeah.
And I would say that that's what being younger and trading really helps, man, because traders that are able to start, and they live with their parents and they don't really have any bills, and then maybe they have a night job or waiting tables or something. That just makes it so much easier than the guys that are married, have kids, have a full-time job. That's just it takes a lot longer because they're not able to put in the screen time. I mean, it all comes down to screen time. I mean, it really does. Like, you just need a shit ton of like live screen time.
Do you think that it's more important like having the live screen time or like doing like the documenting and like analyzing all the trades after hours?
I mean, you need both. You need to see examples. You need to see examples of trades. Both. Like, you need to see examples of trades in your setup from backtesting. Like, you need to say, okay, like, the setup that you just described earlier. Like, you didn't know that was a setup until you like saw a bunch of of charts historically of what that setup looked like, right? Like, you had to look at like hundreds of those trades of like what that, let's just call it, the ABC pattern. Like, you had to look at hundreds of examples of the ABC pattern to know what that looks like. And so, okay, like, I know what it looks like, I know what it should look like, I know what that is supposed to look like, and then now it takes a ton of time of seeing it live before the pattern has developed to be able to like sense that, okay, an ABC pattern is shaping up. I need to like get ready for it. And this is where I want to get, this is where I'm going to risk to, and this is what my target is. Like, that takes a long time, bro. Like, it's all about pattern recognition. And the earlier that you can sense and recognize the pattern that's shaping up, that's where you're now getting into the sweet spot of trading. Recognizing the pattern before other guys, before it happens.
Yeah, that takes a long ass time. It's crazy, man. Like it's like watching the candle. Like, I remember, like every once in a while, I get it. Like, we'll have some downtime, and I can watch these charts, and it's like you see the candle. It's like a pulse, dude. It's like a heartbeat. Like, it's like I got to a point where it's like, I'm like, dude, that's about like that's trapping some shit. That's about to squeeze, dude. Here, like any second right now. Like, you need to get out, and then it's like, I'll sit there and like 20 seconds later, boom. I'm like, holy shit!
That's
I got it, man.
I really like. I'm a backside trader because I like the front side. You've got so many games, so much manipulation. Market maker is probably involved. Algos are involved. Everyone gets blown out. Shorts are taken out. Market maker is like, he's probably done for the day. And now it's just organic trading, right? Now it's just like longs versus shorts, and that's where I can really shine. Like when there's actually organic and there's not games being played, with an algo like trying to fool you.
Yeah.
Like when it's just organic trading, and that's where I can really shine and take advantage of the fear and greed.
You know what I was just thinking about is like kind of like what you were saying, like the back testing thing. Like I love that setup. Like really for me, like especially when there's times where it's like the $3 area is like it's in play, and like if that happens like right around the $3 area, oh my god, dude, that's such a beautiful trade for me. It's like first 5 minutes, I'm just like I get so fucking excited. I'm just like. The other thing though is like some of those like were my biggest trades, but like I do remember the distance away from the 1 minute J lines is like it's a far ass drop, and so it's like, dude, I hit that thing with like 1,200 shares, like that thing's gonna like go down like 50 cents before it hits the J lines. Like the range on that is like insane, but like. I don't know, like the thing I was thinking about is like like what target does it hit, like that's also gonna be like a thing that I'm gonna have to go back and like rewatch this. Like, man, there's so many gold nuggets that you've dropped in this. At least for me, I don't know if anybody else is gonna get all these gold nuggets, but like for me, this has been absolute gold. But I was noticing your Hodge Twins T-shirt, and it was. Like my wife was laughing her ass off because I got way too big. Like I need like extra larges. All my shirts are large, and so I was like, I'm gonna like order some shirts, and I went to Grunt Style, and I got Bourbon is best. Then I got like a badass flag with like 1776 on it, and like. But then I got this other one that is like she didn't see it at the very beginning. She's like, my feelings or your feelings or whatever. And she's like, I don't get it. And I was like, there's a stick figure fucking your feelings. And she's just like, oh my, you're gonna wear that outside? I was like, yeah, I'm going to the grocery store and everything. She's just like, no, what are you doing? She's like this most like sweet person in the world, and I'm like this. I don't give a shit, dude. And I'm just like, but it's such like a funny person, like a funny mix. But like, she's from Colombia, and so she's getting like the whole like like old school American like upbringing kind of stuff. And I'm just like, like she'll start talking about all this stuff. Like I went on a rant. Like one of my best TikToks is I was ripping Joe Biden and Gavin Newsom a new asshole, and I was just like, you guys are fucking idiots. And like everyone's just like, what are you talking about, man? It's capitalism. And I'm like, how the fuck is that capitalism, dude? Like they're literally breaking the backbone of America. Like these guys are either the dumbest people in the world or they are geniuses because they are literally crippling the infrastructure of America. Yeah. And then everyone's like, dude, you're such a conspiracy theorist. I was like, okay, but like, I mean, you guys are like not wanting to like even talk about RFK at all because the dude's against vaccines. Like they just pumped out like a freaking vaccine in like no time at all, and like are demanding you to stab yourself. I'm like, yeah, dude, like I don't know, that's sounds a little sketchy. I was like, but hey, I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I can't ever call you out on your stupid shit. All right, that's totally reasonable. Yeah, it's funny though. So like I don't like. Do you live in southern or northern Cali?
I'm in the Temecula Valley. I live in an area just to the north of Temecula called Wildomar.
Yeah, I have no, like all I know is like L.A., San Francisco, and
yeah. So between L.A. and San Diego, there's an area, there's an inland of L.A. and San Diego. In between, like right in between, about an hour between each one. There's an area called Riverside County, and in Riverside County, there's a few different towns, and one of them is Temecula, and I'm just like to the north of Temecula.
Oh, dude! Like my like some of my like oldest friends, they got married out there, and like it was like north northwest of San Diego, so I'd imagine it was probably over by you.
Yeah.
It's probably about an
No,
hour and a half.
probably northeast of San Diego, because San Diego's already pretty much as far west as you can go.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right on
yeah,
the
yeah,
ocean. Yeah.
yeah. Northeast. My bad. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. But like, man, I had a blast over there. But like I heard, my daughter just went out to San Diego and she said it was beautiful. But like you hear all these horror stories about like the cities out in Cali. Is that legit or not? Because I just went to Chicago like 3 weeks ago, and like everyone was talking
Yeah.
about how like Chicago is getting like just annihilated with immigrants and stuff. Like I didn't see, like literally, I did not. I saw one family, and like that's probably the
Yeah.
cleanest I've ever seen the city. Like there was cops down in like the subways and stuff. I was just like,
Yeah.
damn. I was like, okay, like this is not bad at all. But like you hear horror stories about Cali, like, but I don't trust mainstream media. So like I
Right,
have
right.
friends that are all over the place. So like, what's your take on it? Is it
Well,
that much
not with
different than?
the area that I live in Riverside. It's very, very conservative out here. Very. Most of California is conservative outside of the big cities, when most people don't realize.
I
So
think it's like that
the smaller
everywhere.
towns. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is pretty much everywhere. Like even in Illinois, like Chicago is, I think, the only Democrat area in all of Illinois. Like everywhere
Yeah,
else in Illinois is conservative.
and see,
But
like
because
that's
Chicago is
crazy.
so freaking big, it like dominates the politics for the rest of the state. Same thing with California. Like the cities are so big here. There's so many people live in the cities that they just like they dominate state politics, unfortunately. So but I mean, honestly, for where we live here, I mean, if you drive around our neighborhood, like all you'll see is American flags and Trump flags in our
Huh,
whole neighborhood.
that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, you won't see like, and just like 5 minutes from my house, I can like drive to the end of my neighborhood and then park and then walk like about 10 minutes, and we have not one, but we have two shooting ranges,
Oh
like
really?
just outside shooting ranges.
So,
Yeah,
like you're gonna be like, dude, Adam, like what the fuck? But like, so like I bought this AR. I've had it for like a month. I haven't even shot it yet. Like the gun range over here that's like next to or in my town. It's the only one here. Like you can't shoot an AR, so I have to drive all the way over to like this other place. I keep on talking to my boss. I'm like, dude, you live in the sticks, man. Can I please, for the love of God, just come down and like sighted my gun at your house, and you're just like, dude, no, I don't got like 5 acres, and I'm just like, come on, man, it'll be great. We can have a couple beers, hang out, sight in the AR. But
yeah,
it's funny because like every time you get outside the city, like I don't know, you're right. Like it's like everyone just wants to have like this peaceful like. Hey, you do your thing, I do my thing, like
yeah,
whatever. Like as long as you don't bring your shit into my bubble, I don't care
yeah,
what you do. But like it's so crazy. Like every time I go into the city, it's just like everyone's trying to like, no, no, no. You need to think this way. You need to do that. You need to do this. And it's just like, yeah, fuck you. I don't want to.
right,
I just want to do like hey, whatever you like. You do your thing. I do my thing. But it's like it's crazy. Like how all the cities like I wonder what changed the like I don't know, like once you go into a city, like because like when I was younger, I thought that I was like super liberal, like really until COVID happened. Like when COVID happened, like something like I'm by myself and I'm watching the news by myself, and I'm like, what in the hell am I watching? It's like I woke up,
yeah,
and it's like
yeah.
for some reason
Most people did,
it's like you
or
get
a lot
it's
of people
almost like
did.
you get so busy in the city that it's like like you think that it's like a freaking brainwashing or some shit. Like they're
Yeah,
so busy they can't tune into anything. They look at the news and like they get force fed this agenda, and it's just like, man, dude,
yeah.
it's
So they
crazy.
say there's something they say. It's like, yeah. I mean, I forget what the saying is, but it goes something like, it I'll think about it. I'll think of it in a second. But it's essentially kind of a play on, when you're young, like you're liberal, and then when you get older, like it's just natural to become conservative because you get wiser.
Hmm.
Like you're only liberal when you're young because you're too fucking stupid, right? And then as you get older, like you become conservative because like you've lived enough years that you common sense is now something that you know a lot more about. So
That's funny.
conservatism it's just common sense, man. I mean, and like you could go down the line of the different issues and topics, but at the end of the day, liberalism, you have to like do backflips to make it make sense. I mean, let's
I
talk about
agree.
transgender people. I mean, how does it make sense that someone is going to allow a woman or women to compete against a biological man in a swimming pool?
Yeah,
Like what's the point of having
it's
women's sports if you're just going to have men come in and dominate them, right?
like for me, like I cannot stand like liberals, but like for me, like at the same time, like one thing that I've actually been really loving a lot of, and I would like your take on this because like you said that like when we're talking that like you were like 110% MAGA, and like one thing that I've been like seeing is like people like RFK or like Tulsi Gabbard that have like left the Democratic Party, and like those guys, like when I listen to them, like I really love almost everything they say, and like it confused the hell out of me that like they were Democrats, and like
Yeah.
my boss was like, dude, no, they're old school Democrats. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you talking about? Like, see, I never learned about politics at all, and so it's like when I started like waking up, like I look at like liberals as Democrats. Those are not Democrats. Those are liberals. And it's like like when I start hearing like Tulsi Gabbard or like RFK like saying stuff, it's just like, damn, dude, like that shit, like that like unites like everything. Like it's enough that like okay, yeah, there's gonna be like some like absolute nut jobs that like don't follow like the ship because they're like too far gone like to the left,
Yeah.
but like everyone, like I feel like everyone can like listen to that stuff and be like, yeah, I mean, shit, dude, that makes sense. It's like I have this
Yeah.
argument like where there's like 10% retards on the left, 10% on the right, and like everybody in the middle is just fucked. And it's like they're so busy like fighting each other, or like people like pushing like agendas and shit that it's like I don't know, like that doesn't help like anybody. And it's like you start seeing people like you even start seeing people on the right that are like falling away from like the old guys. It's almost like there's starting to become like a whole new like system. Like we have Rand Paul that like he's like seems like one of the only awake like righties that like is out there saying shit. He's like, dude, like why is the Republican Party voting for this or voting for that? And it's like they're doing all this crazy ass shit, or like Mitch McConnell or whatever, like talking about how like he's got to like his like almost dying wish is to like send more money to Ukraine, and like you have people talking about like inflation. It's like, dude, yeah, like we don't have any money, like we're in debt.
Well, yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't. I think we have to. You have to delineate the difference between conservative and Republican. So, I don't consider myself. I consider myself first and foremost a conservative, and then second, I vote for the Republican Party because they are aligned much closer with my values than the Democrat Party. But I mean, there's a lot of things that I disagree with a lot of mainstream Republicans, and the number one, I mean, most obvious one right now, which you just brought up, is Ukraine. Like, I don't think, or I know that it's not a conservative principle for an American conservative to be supporting a foreign country on a foreign war that has nothing to do with us.
Yeah,
Like we have enough issues at home. I mean, until we've solved like homelessness, until we've solved like inflation, until we've made the U.S. national debt zero, and I think it's like 30 trillion right now. We
yeah,
have no business sending any money to anywhere, any other
exactly,
country. So
exactly.
I mean, that's not a conservative issue. That's not a right issue. That's what you see there is there's a lot of there's a lot of what they call Republicans that are really into foreign intervention, right? They call them I think it's called like a war hawk. There's another word for it, but let's just use that term. Like, there's a lot of war hawks in the Republican Party. Like there's not a war that they don't like. There's not a conflict that they don't want to be involved in around the world.
Yeah, I was on this podcast with this guy, and he kind of dove into more politics and kind of gave me like a I guess not like I wouldn't say a refresher because I didn't know shit really. Like he was throwing out all this information. I'm like, dude, throw everything you want at me because like I don't know any of this stuff. Like I just now started like paying attention. Like I like the only time I ever paid attention to anything was like Trump and Biden, and like the first time I ever voted was for Trump because like I was watching like all the stuff that Biden was doing. I was just like,
Yeah.
dude, this guy is an absolute moron. Like there's no way that like people would actually vote for this dude. But like,
Yeah. I know. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, I oftentimes wonder how people can ever vote for anyone that's Democrat because they literally don't stand for anything. They have no moral values. They flip flop every single day, on their stance on every issue. They put other countries before our own. They don't think that we should have borders. They put criminals ahead of, law-abiding citizens. They put illegal aliens ahead of, tax-paying Americans. So, I mean, how
which
could you
dude
possibly vote for
that
a party that would
shit's
do that?
that shit's legit, man. I remember like you said, my wife is from Colombia, and before we even started dating or anything, like I remember like our daughter has a extremely rare heart condition. Like the valve or whatever like weaves in between her rib cage, and like if she picks anything heavy, it like it blocks it, and like, it's like her body goes into a stroke, dude. And my wife, like my backstory is I rented a room to a single mom and two kids, and I ended up marrying her because I realized like later on that I was like, oh damn, dude, like I got a family, like legit. Like I was at work, so anyways, like really quick story, like as I worked, she had nobody to talk to, like or to help, and like the doctors were speaking really fast English, and I remember I left work. I went and helped her out, but like while I'm sitting there, dude, like my well soon to be daughter, she's getting like heart scans and all sorts of shit. I'm sitting there, I'm like, holy fuck, you guys are so fucked. And I'm like in my head, I'm like, dude, I got to like, I gotta do whatever I can to help this woman out, like because she's about to be just annihilated, like. She was already killing herself, dude. Like she was working for like $10 an hour at some freaking airport, and like making like nothing. I was just like, she's not gonna be.
That's your current wife?
Yeah, like well before we were married, and so like I was just like, holy shit, dude. Like you're in so much shit.
Yeah.
But dude, like the hospital was like $200.
Crazy, dude.
And I was just like,
Yeah.
man, that's insane. But anyways, dude, I'm gonna let you go. Like we've been talking for a little
Oh,
over.
no worries.
But
Yeah, it's
hey,
one of my dogs. I don't know. He just started. He's barking. He learned from my first dog how to like be a good guard dog. He's only 4 months old. He's a rescue. We found him. Or my girlfriend's coworker. She was at the gym, and she lives in L.A. and she was working out, and she works out in or her gym was in downtown Los Angeles.
uh-huh.
And this dog, who's now our dog, he just like wandered in the gym, and the gym owner was like, here he is.
Dude, he's look those eyes, man. Those eyes are so pretty.
The gym owner was like, oh, is this anyone's dog? And like no one claimed him. So she was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just take him home and I'll see, I'll check the lost and found and with with like the pound and see if anyone has lost a dog. Well, like a couple weeks went by and no one filed a missing dog report. And she lives in like a studio in Los Angeles, and so she really didn't have the wherewithal to take care of a dog. And so my girlfriend was like, "Yeah, we'll take care of him. We'll be a foster parent for him until we can find a forever home for him." And we've had him now for about 3 weeks, and I think we're gonna keep him
That's what's
because
up, dude.
he's pretty cool. Like he gets along great with my dog, and he's such a sweet boy. So yeah,
That's cool as shit, man.
yeah.
Well,
We
anyways,
got a
to
perfect property here for our dogs too. Like we got about 3 acres up here, all fenced off. So yeah,
oh,
it's a really
dude,
good place for a dog.
that's what I want to do. I'm gonna sell my house here in a year. Like, you can sell your house after living there for 2 years. You don't have to pay any of the capital gains. And so
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna throw all that money into another property. And so, like, that's kind of like what I'm gonna be looking for, is like something with like 3 to 5 acres. That way
Yeah,
I have like I can do my own shit. Like, here
yeah.
I live in
Moving
a
from the
HOA.
city, honestly, moving from the city, bro, was like the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah,
Like we moved out here in July last year, and it was like honestly the best move I've ever made. Like we don't ever want to leave. We're just like happy just to stay home.
that's
It's so
cool.
much quieter out here. I mean, we don't have any homeless people. There's no crime. I mean, I've got a view out to the mountains right from my trading desk right here. Like I would never move back to the city ever. I love it out here.
That's what's up, dude.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so if anybody wants to find you or your small cap community, like where can they find you, on X, on Twitter?
Yeah, they can find me on Twitter, Laserwolf 33, and then on the website if they're interested in the trading community, our trading community. I think it's Laserwolf. Like they just type in Laserwolf to Google. I think it's laserwolf.co,
Okay,
and yeah, that's our website.
dope, man. Well, like I said, I really appreciate you taking the time to
Yeah, thanks for
chat with
having me
me.
on.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's gonna be a little while before I